Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today is going to be a very fast video because I've had one hell of a day, including waking up to a surprise flat tire that took an additional 2 hours to get patched and fixed, and I have to leave for a wedding in less than an hour. So this is going to be a really fast video. It is going to be the most jam-packed, camera detailed video that you have ever seen. Now, I will be showing you on a Canon R6 Mark II, but most of these features are on most, if not every single camera. So let's get into the video and get started. My name's Will, welcome back to the channel. Here we go. The first thing is on most cameras, there is a lock action here. So on the Canon R6 Mark II, there is a lock switch between the on and off button. On a Canon R5, there is a lock button. On other cameras, there might be a different, but there's always usually a lock feature. And what this means is when you have your settings dialed in and when you lock it, you're generally able to adjust maybe the shutter, but the aperture and ISO are locked. You cannot use them. Now, this may vary per camera, but that is at least for the R6 Mark II and R5. Now, if I turn it back to on, I am now able to adjust all the other settings. So if you're having this problem, when you adjust your settings, you'll see lock flash on the screen. That's why. The next thing is a very common thing, and you probably know what this is, but it's the exposure meter. When you look on the back of your camera, or sometimes in your viewfinder, you'll notice this little meter on the bottom here. Now that little meter shows the exposure from your camera's viewpoint. If the little arrow is in the 0, it means the camera thinks that everything is properly exposed. If the arrow is to the right, it means that the camera thinks it's possibly overexposed. And if it's to the left, the camera is thinking that it's possibly underexposed. The numbers and the little dots represent stops of light. So this allows you to adjust your settings easier. So for example, let's say you're looking at a scene and the exposure meter shows that it's at -1. That means you need to move it one stop to the right to get proper exposure. So you can adjust your f-stop, your shutter, or your ISO one stop over to get proper exposure. But you can also use it to balance exposure. For example, let's say you darken your image by raising your f-stop one stop, and you see this on the meter. And that tells you that all you need to do is adjust your shutter one stop or your ISO one stop or a mix of both to get the proper exposure back. So this is a good way to adjust your exposure, and it's a quick way to see where you are based on your camera's reading. Now the next thing is this little switch right here. Now almost all cameras have it. Most people don't even know what it is. This is called the Dioptric wheel or whatever kind of adjustment it is on your camera. If you ever look through your viewfinder and notice that you have blurry view, like your images aren't sharp through the viewfinder, this is how you adjust that. You turn this wheel up or down until your image is tack sharp. Now this has nothing to do with your photos not being sharp. This is simply just your eye to the camera through the viewfinder and seeing what you see. If it's blurry through the viewfinder, you adjust this little wheel and until you get it sharp. This allows you to easily see through the viewfinder. But this is a really important wheel if you're having that problem. Now the next thing is auto ISO. Now this might not be a big problem for you, but when I first had this happen, it threw me off. I was in the middle of a shoot, and honestly, when you're in the middle of a shoot, you don't want to think about things that you don't know how to do, so you kind of get a little chaotic and things don't go as well. So here's how to fix this. Let's say you're in manual mode, and let's say your screen looks like this without any of the information. Well, how do you change it? So there's two ways to fix this. Simply adjust the ISO up so it takes it out of auto, or press info on your screen until you see ISO, then you can touch the ISO button and you can switch it off auto. Now that's super quick, and it looks like they made an update because before that little lever didn't work. If it was on auto ISO, it already was. So looks like they fixed that, so that's good. But just so you know, you can have auto ISO when you're in manual, and that's how to fix it or take it off if you want. The next thing is the rate button on your camera. This is one of my favorite things in the world. It is a button that looks like this. It says the word rate on it, and this allows you to give your photos stars. So when you bring them into Lightroom or whatever editing program you're using, the photos already have stars. So this is a great way to do your sneak peeks when you're doing weddings or when you're doing photo shoots. You like a photo, you press the rate button once for 1 star, 2 for 2 stars, all the way up to 5 stars. And this allows you to quickly have your sneaks already chosen. So you go into Lightroom, edit them, and boom, your delivery is that much faster. And the last thing is your lens size. You've heard ND filters, you've heard lens covers, all of these different things. Well, every single lens has a symbol on it. This symbol right here, this little number and symbol, is the size you need. Indie filters, regular covers, things like that, all have corresponding numbers that match. Almost every lens is different. Like the RF 2870 I'm filming on here is a 95, whereas this one is an 82. So the filters won't work on each other unless you have step-ups, which size up for the same filters. But that wraps up this video on cool little features of your camera that you should know about. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I got a jet, so here's a couple of videos for you to watch, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.